Hey, spread, you're old. Guess what? Lil John's playing a halftime of the Chiefs game. I mean, super excited about this. And I'm super excited, Mangone even knew who it was. Welcome into picking winners. This is the divisional round. We got 4 games coming up.
That was quite the intro.
Yeah, it just hit my mind right there because I was completely shocked Mangone had heard him. There's no way the title's heard of Lil John. Just 0%.
No one's better. No one's better than Little John and the East Side Boys.
Title? Why would you think the title hasn't?
Because Title hadn't heard of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Title didn't know who Scarlett Johansson was.
There's no way he knows.
That guy's grinding. You got to give him credit for being on the grind. If you don't even know who ScarJo is, wow, that's dedication.
I don't think that's because of the grind, buddy.
Why would it be? It's because he's working on his cores and his lineups all day.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as I know, he doesn't even play Call of Duty.
What's your favorite Lil Jon saying?
I just like the one that everybody likes. Turn down for what? I mean,
yeah.
Even if you don't like completely ignorant rap, you can't admit that it's not like the catchiest.
Oh, it's so great. That was getting crunk too. So those were the days.
Fun fact for you, Spread. I first met Title. Well, we met on Twitter or like in like a chat. The first time I ever had a conversation with him, like voice to voice, was on Fortnite, actually.
Oh, Fortnite. You know what? I hate that. Fortnite has become so popular because I use talk to text to write all my articles. And whenever I'm writing about tennis Grand Slams event, I say Fortnite and it's not spelled properly. It's spelled like your favorite game now. I'm not happy about that.
Well, it was a great game in its time. I used to play it all the time, but
that doesn't surprise me.
How are things going, boys? We're coming down to the end of the season. This will probably be the most. This usually is the most competitive round. I mean, we had the wild card round where we actually had some great games. We'll have the conference championship, just 2 games. These are the 8 best teams left, and I think there's a path for every single team to get through and win these games. You know, from a DFS side, Mangone, can you pick one game that you're really going to target before we get into the lines and get the spread on the betting side of the Chiefs and the Jags? What's your favorite game?
Sorry, the cat is trying to open my door. He can open doors in the house, and he's distracting me. So
man, I got a cat going here. No cat show for this. The damn thing was sleeping. She woke up 10 minutes ago.
Holden, he knows how to open doors, though. So if he opens his door, he's getting in here. He's
like jump up and hit the thing?
It's impressive. Yeah, it's
wow.
Funny. The only door he can't open really is mine. There's like a hitch in it that he struggles with.
Wow. That's
impressive.
Impressive.
The games last week were awesome. Let's start there. Everyone was making fun of Skylar Thompson, right? Making fun of Steve. He was saying it was going to be a terrible game on Twitter. Well, I mean, it was still fun. It was great to watch. Skylar Thompson made the Dolphins look a lot better, Spread. The Bills, not as impressive to me. Bengals, they weren't as impressive. It did feel like some of these teams that you were thinking are the best in the league. I don't know. Maybe the gap's a little closer, and I think we've all been leading on. It feels like, and I'm talking about like a consensus whole, right? Maybe someone else has a different opinion, but it felt like everyone's like, wow, the AFC is just the top 3 or 4 are just so much stronger than everybody else. And the NFC is not that great. And the Niners are clearly the number 1. It just seemed like the teams are a lot closer. I think we're going to have a really, really fun weekend. Excited to watch these games. I think there's teams that are way more alive than maybe other people think. So as we break it down, I'm excited to talk about that. And what's called? Oh, I had a good weekend betting wise too. I thought I did very well. The only game, basically I went 5-0. I would say I didn't really have a huge take on the Vikings and Giants game. I was like, it's 2 overrated teams. And in the end, I was kind of hoping the Giants would win, but I also was like, the Vikings winning is better for some of my bets and futures and different things like that, best ball. So I was like, I'm torn. I don't really care who wins. Let's just watch football and have a good game.
So one thing I would say about what you said, Travis, is they were divisional rematches, though, right?
Totally fair.
I think that's something that I said it before. I wanted to fade these 7 seeds. I just wish they weren't playing a divisional opponent.
No, it's a totally fair point. And that was something to bring up. And when you play a team 3 times, right? You can just, each other a little bit better. Obviously, you understand the Bills are the better team, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that sometimes, you can kind of get when you play against a team a couple times, and you play them all the time.
And it's year after year. And yes. On the show, you've always noticed we're much more hesitant to lay the 3.5 in a divisional game than if like Colts play the Cowboys or out of division game. So I thought that had something to do with how those teams look. But you're right. We did see some flaws in what was considered to be the AFC's best. So
yes, we definitely saw them, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Also, I did give the Jaguars, the tease with the Jaguars and the Bengals, and never a doubt on the Jags. Let me tell you that it was.
Oh wow.
It was fun to watch.
For me as I turned to
you turned it off, didn't you, Mangone? You turned it off.
I flipped back.
No, I didn't turn it off.
One of these games
you're better than me. I did.
You tweeted something out, and the team came back. You're like, "I'm done. Let's just go." It had to be the Jags game, Mangone.
I'm trying to think what I did Saturday night.
You bolted.
No, I watched the whole game. I'm pretty sure. This is why I was. So I'm in my chat with the boys, right? We're texting about the game. And he was like, basically had said something like, man, I can't wait to watch this. I'm going to keep watching this. I think we were rooting on Zay Jones. I'm like, dude, I ain't rooting on Zay Jones. This is over. I'm out. And I kind of just during halftime happened to be sitting in the chair a little longer. And it was 27-7. And I was like, I'll give it a drive, right? I'll give it a drive or two. And then I just fought through the pain. I just said, okay, let's see. And then it just got better and better. And then it just got fun. So, and then my one buddy was like, I'm leaving for the Dolphins game. And I was like, I'm staying for this one. I think we're going to have a game. And we did. So, and again, we don't have football much longer, right? So I kind of want to sit and enjoy these games. I actually like watching island games a little more than other people. I know a lot of people crap on it. And listen, I love Red Zone, but it is fun to watch a game, especially when they're good. And we're going to get great games this week. I mean, they are going to be great. So let's definitely dive in and break them down because it's going to be fun.
So spread, before we get into the betting sides of things, okay, I want to give you a couple of betting systems. These are not trends. These are systems. It's different. I'm not going to get into it.
What's the difference between a trend and a system?
Well, I guess I have to now. So in a trend, you're basically just looking at one thing and you say, okay, this is what has happened so far. Or this.
You say the Eagles haven't lost a game in December. They're 4-0.
So it's one thing.
Yes.
But here, if you take home teams, okay, that are covering the point spread. So there's one of them. And then the other part is in divisional round games. So it's this round. All right. The over is hitting at 82%, 19-4. But here's another interesting one. Road team covers. If you think one of these road teams are going to cover, 13 unders out of 18 games are hitting at 72%. And I started using these systems right around halfway through the season spread, and my season turned around, and it turned around a lot. You could take it, you could poop on it, doesn't matter. I'll also say this, that home favorites of 5.5 points or less, and there's two teams, home favorites 5.5 points or less, are just 39% against the spread, 11-17. So look at the two teams there. The Bills -5 and the Niners -3.5. So a couple to look at right there. But with all that being said, let's get into the Jags and Chiefs, okay? You can do what you want with that information, but I like the Bengals a lot, and Tony's starting to take me on the Cowboys side. I really feel like the Niners are so much better. We'll talk about that too, but spread, Jags, 8.5-point dogs on the road. 52.5 is the total, highest total of the week. What do you like from this game, if anything?
Man, this is a tough one. My projections definitely want me to lay the points with the Chiefs. Obviously, they're coming off the bye. We can say it. The Jaguars were lucky to win last week. Was that a case of the Jaguars being excellent or the Chargers chargering, right, as they've done this? And this isn't a coach. It's not the particular group of players. This has happened since I was young, Holden, so that's a very long time, where the Chargers simply can't get it done when the lights are bright. So as much as this one's tough, I like taking Kansas City here, laying the points. They will be at home. They are the number 1 seed. The question is, will they be at home next week, or will it be played on a neutral field? That is, of course, assuming they get the win. Jaguars defense, 22nd in pass yards per play. They're 29th in pass yards per play on third down, and they're also 24th in the red zone. Seems like something that Andy Reid and the Chiefs will go. And I know this is a trend, not a system, right, Holden? By Andy Reid off a bye. Reid off a bye, right? I mean, that thing's been going for like 5 years.
What's that
now.
record still?
I don't know have the exact number on front of me. I just
You
know
don't
that
have the trend, and you're sitting there digging me on my system.
I know. I was just saying. Now that you've defined it for me, I realize that I'm giving you a trend and not a system, and I don't know the exact number, but you can look it up.
27-4.
It's 27-4.
Yeah.
No wonder they've been talking about it for 5 years straight.
Is that just wins or whatever, or is it the spread?
No, it's ATS.
It doesn't have the spread.
It's against the spread. Jeez.
Yeah, and that really doesn't help us here, spread, unless you're betting Kansas City money line.
Oh, you mean he's just winning straight up? No, he's covering. All right, I'll look it up right now. Travis, break it down, and I'll get it for you guys.
Basically, all you need to do is Andy Reid on the bye, after the bye, ATS.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
I have a different take on this game than most
You
people.
do.
So.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to hearing it because you said, hold on. I'm going to try and find this real quick. Philly, we're looking at KC, right? Just for Andy Reid in Kansas City. Would that be correct? 8-6 off the bye against the spread. So you're not getting a lot there. No. All right, Mangone. Sorry about that. Let's go.
No, you're good. So, just so everyone knows, DFS wise, we are breaking down the 4-game slate on DraftKings. They actually made it like their Millie Maker slate too. So
love it.
Kudos to them. We like to be critical at times of the sites, but I want to be also positive towards them when they do things right. And I think that was the right move to do. They'll have other slates too. We'll obviously have content for that over here at Run Pure. So if you want to get 2-gamer showdown, we'll be happy to give it to you guys. But let's go to this first game. I'm very excited for this game. I think the Jags are way more alive in this game than people realize. So when it comes to a football team, right, if we're just talking building a team, right, you're a GM, what are the two things you need to have, like the two starting points? You need a quarterback that's a franchise quarterback. Jaguars, check, right? We can check that off. They have that. You need a head coach, right? A head coach that you trust, one that actually, isn't a coward, one that actually can call the play, the game properly. Doug Peterson, we'd give that a check mark, right, Holden? So that's 2 check marks their way. Now let's start here. Offensive line. Jags offensive line, I'll admit I'm not up to date on the offensive line and how good it is, but I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's like a huge weakness of theirs. And here's the other thing. I don't trust the Kansas City Chiefs defense that much anyways, where I think they are susceptible a little bit. So not that worried about their pass rush, but I do know their defense has had issues throughout the season, but one thing they do have is they have Josh Allen, and not the Buffalo Bills Josh Allen. They have Josh Allen who can get to the passer. They can get pressure on quarterbacks. Yes, I understand. Pat Mahomes is incredible. I'm not saying this is a Holden trying to get me here and say, oh, I'll take the Chiefs -110 versus the Jags, right? But point I'm getting at here is the Jags are way more alive than I think people realize. I like the 8.5. I think I'm considering taking it. One of the obvious worries is if it's like a 3-point game and Mahomes is going to have the ball at the end of the game. That's one of the concerns that I could easily have. But I think taking the 8.5 is not bad. And I don't mind. I don't really do these much. I like to tease games. I don't tease them as much as Big T. Maybe I should ask him. But I don't think teasing the 8.5 up to 15.5 is a bad idea at all. I mean, again,
14.5. You'll get a 6 points.
Yes,
so you'll
right.
do it to 14. And I love that bet. They're the best teaser this week. Them and the Bengals.
Yes, I think the Jaguars are a great teaser this week. So I haven't built it yet. Maybe I'll look at it on the show when Spread's talking. But I really think the Jags are way more alive to win this game than people realize. So I'm interested in it. Another thing I did when I go to the gym, Holden, there's they have this little tally thing. Like sometimes they ask what kind of music do you listen to, right? What's your favorite thing to lift? This week they did, what's your favorite who's your favorite team to win the Super Bowl, right? And I just glanced to see because everyone's it's like the public, right? People check in the boxes. Everyone's on the Chiefs. You know what? There's no one that's betting on the Jags to get there. And I think the Jags can get there. I really do. Think they have all the pieces to be able to get the job done. They're one of those teams that they fit the formula too. If you remember, and this isn't the best example, but remember Russell Wilson when he won a Super Bowl? It's because he was on that rookie contract, right? Trevor Lawrence is on that rookie contract. They paid a bunch of guys the money to be able to fit all those other pieces. I think the Jags could really make a run. So I'm excited to see. I think DFS-wise, this game is going to be sick because this Chiefs defense ain't very good, and they have a lot of cheap pieces on the Jaguar side. Before I dive into DFS, though, Holden, what were you going to say?
Well, a couple of things, because first of all, you talk about the gym more than I talk about my girlfriend. That is 100% accurate. Second of all, I forgot to, this is me needing to catch up now before Mangone's DFS breakdown of game number 1, which by the way, that total looks juicy too. Like button would be great. Like button would be great. Subscribe to our channel, bottom right-hand corner. Do we have any discount promo codes? I saw Stevie Boynton put Boynton 15 out there. Was that a BS code?
No, it is not. So actually, I can explain that for the people
Please.
right now. So as I dive in here, I want to find it because there's a little sheet. All right, so
Okay.
basically everyone has a code at Rump here, right?
I do?
That's what I was about to check. I think
No
you did.
way.
They didn't give the
check.
bets, guys. I don't have one.
Well,
Only you
hold
guys.
on. Give me a second. So actually, this is what we'll do. Spread, you go break down the game. Let me sort all this out. I'll talk about that, and then we'll dive into DFS. How about that?
All right, let's do that. So Holden, I looked this up, and this was on a company, you might be familiar with them, BSIN.
Yes, one of my places of employment. And we're
Yeah,
about,
they on that one, Chiefs 15-7 off a bye under Andy Reid.
that's crazy, man.
Maybe we're just finding different ones.
In the playoffs?
No.
Oh, and by the way, Space Cowboy, shove it, because on the show last night, I told you to back them at +4.5 and +6. So I won money on my Jayhawks who lost by a point. I'm not worried about it. They're winning the championship. But back to you, Spread. What are you talking about, man?
I'm just giving you.
Has he been in the playoffs 22 times?
I mean, he's kind of old, but no. I'm telling you, just off a bye.
Okay.
Off a bye.
My number was
2
in
weeks
the
to prepare.
playoffs. Okay.
Okay. Two
All right,
weeks
very
to
good.
prepare.
So,
All right.
Mango,
Let me give you one other thing.
All right, keep going.
You said this Chiefs defense isn't very good.
It's horrible.
They gave up 13 points in week 18, 24 points in week 17, 10 points in week 16, and 24 points in week 14. I mean, that's not that bad. I mean, we're acting like this is like the Raiders defense.
I mean, you're out here hand picking stuff, so let's go see
The last 4 weeks, that's what I picked because that's the
Right.
most relevant to what we're talking
Derek
about.
Carr,
Let's
they
go
got
see
their
what
asses whooped by-
let's go see what teams you're hand picking.
Russell Wilson 2 times shredded them. Then they beat the Seahawks, who were in an offensive funk. Then the Raiders, who they didn't even, I mean, they played in that game.
And that was a cold weather game, that Seattle game, which seemed like it was like a goofy like weather week.
I'm on Team Mangone this time. Their defense, to me, is what's going to keep them out of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Right, we'll see because I think they'll be in the Super Bowl. We saw the flaws of those other 2 teams this weekend.
Okay. All right, Spread. I see you. I hear you.
And
too.
in fact, I think they will get to this game, but they might have home field advantage in the conference championship game. It might not be played on a neutral, depending on this week's results.
Okay. Mango, did you find the information, or should we just get into?
So I did. So if you are here watching the show, I don't think you can do this if like you're like already been a member. So you have to be like a new member when you're signing up for this, I believe. But everyone has codes now, even Spread, even
I
Holden.
do.
On
the original list, I did not.
You did not, but it's changed. Like even I have a code now. So
Wow.
this is breaking news.
Well, let me know. I got to start dropping this code.
It just happened this morning. Like I'm probably going over, the fence right now when I shouldn't be, right? I'm letting you know information that is I'm leaking information here, but I'm doing it for you.
Behind the scenes, Run Fear. Look at this. This is a great show to watch.
So you are Spread 15. We got Holden 15. We got Mangone 15.
All right, Holden 15% off.
There you go. And like, listen, obviously use one of ours if you're new here, but if there's someone else you like over at Rump here, let's say you're a big Glock guy, right? Then it's Glock 15.
I like Glock.
Let's say you're a big JSU guy, JSU 15. It's just
big
you just have the
JSU.
15 on. It's 15%. You can't be like, oh, this month I'm using Mangone 15, and then next month I'm using Holden 15.
Great idea.
I'm gonna jump over to Spread 15 for month 3. You can't do that, but so yeah. But that's basically it. So use those codes if you like to get 15% off if you are a new member over here at Rump Your Sports.
Okay, Mangone, let's talk about Jacksonville, Kansas City from the DFS side, because an interesting thing here, if you think that Jacksonville is going to hang in here, you would think Trevor Lawrence is going to have to put up some numbers then, right? You've got a run defense that's not good with Kansas City. You've got Zay Jones. They just won't price up Zay Jones. He's 4.7 again. It's absolutely ridiculous. Evan Engram, Now he's still 4-3, and we'll get to the Giants game. James and Hodges, these guys are not priced up. I don't know what DK's doing here, but these guys are not expensive, Mangone, and they've got some upside, especially Ingram. That's my boy lately.
Yeah, before we start, Steven, can we be better? Like, yes, if Kansas City's up big, they're probably winning. Like, yeah, no kidding. Like, if it just like, yes, if Big T is up like 15-0 to be on basketball, he's probably winning, right?
I like that take from Steven.
It's a terrible take.
And it really helps you in DFS. Because if it's over.
He's right, though.
Well, no kidding. Yeah, it's like, okay, spread, yeah. So spread.
So that's the difference between last week's games and this week's game.
I'm with
it wasn't
you,
over against the Chargers.
Steven,
we know who the Chargers are. That's why. Like, yeah, of course. Like, is Trevor Lawrence also throwing?
They are who we thought they were?
Yeah, they are
Fantastic.
who we thought we were. There we go. But,
fantastic.
Sorry, Steven. It makes the show better to, banter back and forth. But DFS-wise, Mahomes is tough, man. Mahomes is really, really tough to play. Like, 8K, like, when you play Mahomes, right, and then you go and you play Kelsey, like, I just don't have any salary left. Like, that's the frustrating part about this. So I just can't get behind the KC stacks. But what I can get behind is getting pieces of the game, right? You can maybe do it through Jerick McKinnon, right? I know Holden's been big on McKinnon this year, 6K. If you think they're up big like Steven, how can you not consider Pacheco at 5-5, right? I mean, he hasn't been amazing, but it's going to help you to get the big boys in your lineup this week. And he's hasn't killed you completely. And if it's a game where they are up big, that's certainly a way it can go. And Pacheco could be interesting. If we think this KC run D is not great, and I don't know, I think one way, if the Jaguars do win this game, I think they need to keep Mahomes off the field more. How do you keep Mahomes off the field more? That's with Travis, and I'm not talking Mangone. We're talking Etienne, right? Travis Etienne is the guy that's going to be able to get the job done out there. And I think he's going to be a really great DFS play at 6.4K. He's going to be involved in the pass game a lot as well. Obviously, they had to abandon him a little bit last week because they were down so much. But he still ended up even hitting his over on his rushing prop, which was actually kind of crazy as well. But yeah, I think that this is a really good spot for these Jags. The price tags are nice too, and a really good script. Christian Kirk, 6K is perfectly fine. Zay Jones at only 4.7. Marvin Jones at 3.6 is a punt option who's going to be in a possible trailing script. I mean, sign me up. These Jaguars are definitely good plays. Evan Ingram at 4.3. I'd much rather play Evan Ingram at 4.3 than Travis Kelce at his 7.7 price tag.
Both.
So, and Brad says 8 points from Pacheco doesn't seem interesting to me. I don't know if you're playing FanDuel and that's why, but Brad, Pacheco has not been getting 8 points, right? You're looking at the average number. If you look, he has had double-digit fantasy point games since week 11, except one game against the Texans where he got 9.7. And that means if you look at those games, he's had what? He's had 4 touchdowns, which isn't terrible. But they're going to have that leading script possibly. And I mean, McKinnon, what he's doing is, I don't know how sustainable it is. And I think at some point it is going to flip where there's going to be a nice Pacheco.
They just voted him team captain over Mahomes.
They voted McKinnon?
Yeah, he's the captain.
Oh, gosh. I mean, they
love him. Oh, and by the way, Pacheco is a great play on FanDuel because he doesn't catch passes.
What is his price on FanDuel?
Oh, let me go. Is
that contest even going to run?
That's a good one, Spread. Yeah, it's fair.
Did you like that? I mean, I thought that was brilliant.
I didn't see Spread coming over the top with that. That wasn't on my thing.
I mean,
hey, Travis, let me interrupt real quick. Who's the better Travis play in this game? Etienne or Kelce?
Oh, yeah, that's it's my reason is Etienne because I just don't think I can spend that money on the 4-game slate for Travis Kelce, right? The 2-game slate, you could go Kelce and you can go double tight end, right? Kelce and Ingram. I think you could make that work too. But again, we're talking the 4-game slate. And my issue is when you plug in Mahomes and you plug in Kelce, it gets tough. Maybe it's Kelce just by himself and you go a little bit cheaper. Let's say you go, this is a really good idea, Spread. Let's say you go Travis Kelce as your lone chief, right? And then you decide to go on the Jaguar side. You go with Trevor Lawrence. You go with Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and I'm even gonna get crazier here too. Let's plug in McKinnon too, right? Where it's McKinnon and Kelce. You're left with 4.9 for a running back, receiver, a flex, and a defense. So I guess that does work. So I guess if you play Travis Kelce, I really don't want to even play Mahomes. Like I think Mahomes, like there's just way better quarterback plays, cheaper options that I think just make more sense. The spend all the way up for quarterback has not worked as much. Like Joe Burrow is 6'5". I'd rather go to him. I think I'd rather go to Lawrence if I had to. I think Kelsey is a good play, but he costs a lot. And when you build the Kelsey lineups, the important thing I think to do at times is plug Kelsey in there, right? And then take him out and do a 2v2 or 3v3 swap. And you'll see how much it does for your lineup. It does a ton. So, yeah, I think it can be tough to do at times. But, yeah, I think overall I like Etienne a little bit more just because I think Etienne is going to be in for a pretty big game.
Pacheco 6'4" on FanDuel. Thumbs up. The like button would be great. You can check out any of our shows. We still got a lot of NFL content here. We've got the NBA in full swing, our golf team better than anybody in the business as well. Here's what's coming up later on today. We got the Hardwood NBA Hardwood Show, Tambo locks the title. You'll have the final countdown, me, Tony, Big T, and JSU. That's coming up at 6:30. So we're pushing that back just a little bit for later lock. We got a PGA betting preview, PGA all over the place. And I watched a little bit of the Pin Seekers this morning with Tambo and Hoop. That was a good show as well. So great time to join. Use your favorite guy and put 15, but spread 15. I don't know which one to use. Are you Travis or are you Mangone?
Yeah, it's 15? Mangone 15.
Holden 15. We can't use Mangone. Yeah. There's just too much going on there. Two names.
Also, my new favorite person in the chat goes to Javon. Thank you, Javon. Spread disagrees, but you are correct.
I mean, he's right. KC defense is ass. Seconded and thirded.
No comment from Spread. Spread just sitting out there.
Well, why would he say anything the rest of the show after that FanDuel comment? He just, just walk out, pull a Costanza, dude. It's over. You're not saying anything funnier than that. Let's get it. Game
quick, Sprite's asking for my golf content. I want to say I post a core in the Discord. I will be doing. I do the bet show too at times. There's a bet show tonight with Snyder, Dunkle, me, Kurt. So we do a show here that we talk bets and we talk a little bit DFS as well. It's fun. It's a little more lighthearted than some of the other shows. You know, we kind of banter back and forth. It's a lot of fun. So, but if you ever have any questions and you're a member, man, you can always DM me and ask me for golf stuff. Tambo knows too, if he ever needs someone to cover stuff, like I'm there to help out with the golf stuff. So I'm in the chat as well. So definitely happy to help out and give golf takes here and there. And obviously once golf ramps up a little bit, I might try and do a little bit more content on the old Twitter when we get the Masters and some of these bigger majors for the people.
Brad Moore. I like Tony of the bunch, I guess. Yeah. Good luck. That's a McKinnon Kelsey offense. If you guess
that's a guessing game, right? Right, Holden. Like I think the thing to point out is at least let's make it known that if you are going to play these options in DFS, if you really are going to play them, what you have to realize is you might play Mecole Hardman and get an absolute dud. You might play Tony and get a 2, right? You might play Justin Watson and get destroyed, but they could be an overlooked difference maker for you too. I want to make sure the ownership is low on those guys and maybe use them as last filler pieces. That's kind of how I would handle it.
Okay, let's move on. Sprite soda, by the way. Imagine a kid not being able to try soda. That's what happened to my son until I let him finally do it. He finds it delicious. Do either one of you drink soda? Because I get an earful. Huh?
Not anymore. I can't.
How about you, Mangone? You soda guy?
I've cut it back, but I love soda.
I probably have not.
I've cut back on it.
I haven't drank soda in probably 20 years, but I'll tell you this much, man. Going and getting that Coca-Cola right out of the tap. Oh, there's not too much better. I actually might have one of those soon.
I've only had soda on Sundays during NFL, for the past 2 months or so. Yeah. But I'm cutting it completely now that football's kind of ending. So.
Okay. We got our divisional matchup here, boys. Game number 2, Giants at the Eagles. Eagles coming off a bye, so we got Sirianni's boys and Jalen Hurts back. They only lost one game with Jalen Hurts, right? 7.5 point favorites at home. 48 is the total. So you've got 2 games at 48, one at 52.5 and one at 46. Spread. Like the Giants, they play very well against Minnesota. The question is, after the 2 losses to the Eagles during the regular season, all you're going to hear is it's tough to beat a team 3 times. Well, these Eagles with Jalen Hurts are pretty damn good. No one's talking about him either, and I don't understand why.
Why no one's talking about the Eagles?
Yeah.
I think we got burned out of talking to him after we crowned him during the first 8 weeks of the season, right?
They're still really good, aren't they?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. The concern there is that Jalen Hurts isn't 100% healthy. He has made some comments to indicate that. The one that stood out to me is says, I played hurt before, which is telling me, hey, he knows he's not 100%. Now the question is, do the Giants have the offensive firepower to take advantage of that? And my argument would be no. Of course, it was great that they beat the Minnesota Vikings last week. It's great what they've done this season. Mikey's going to hate me. I see him in the chat. But this team simply just doesn't have the weapons to keep up. And normally, you know, I'm an offensive line, defensive line type of guy. You know, I stay away from the wide receivers as being as meaningful more than I think that the DFS guys do, because you guys do so much work on each individual receiver and their matchups. But this team, simply put, doesn't have enough weapons to keep pace with the Philadelphia Eagles offense. They can get it done both ways. They can run the ball. They can hand off the ball. They can run it with Jalen Hurts. They have two great receivers that should be able to get open as well as a good tight end there. And Dallas Goedert, this team's well rested. They're coming off the bye. Now, the question is Sirianni versus Brian Dable. That's pretty interesting, right? We know that Sirianni has done a great job with this Philadelphia team. They do have a lot of talent. We give credit to GM Howie Roseman for assembling this team. Daboll has been nothing but magic when it comes to leading the team. Maybe a slight coaching advantage there. Maybe that's what puts them over the total here, or puts them within the number here. If I'm going to play anything, I like the under in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Philadelphia Eagles just completely shut down this offense. And my idea there is they get the big lead. You make the Giants one-dimensional in the way that they don't want to be one-dimensional. If they're one-dimensional running the ball, that's going to be great for them, right? If they have to come back from a big lead, I don't know if you can dump off to Saquon enough to get it done. So, you know, it's tough to lay the points in this spot. I'd much rather lay it in the last game in the non-divisional matchup than I would here. My best play here is the under.
Ooh, okay. Little divisional game and a intra-divisional game as well. So, okay. I like this. Mangone, I'm going to give you my one bet that I have on this game to this point. It's going to be Richie James, and he's a great DFS play as well. But now this got steamed up 44.5, open at 40.5. Richie James, though, he's going to get targets 6 times. Last week he dropped the pass. He has a monster game. He's going over this number recently. Hodgins is affordable. James, for some reason, just keeps being 3.9. There's so much value on this slate, this 4-game slate, Mangone. It's something we got to talk about. Slayton's 4.2. Boy, did he have a bad drop. Hodgins 4,900. Richie James 3,900. I mean, again, just like the Jaguars, they don't want to price up Zay. They don't want to price up Ingram, and they don't want to price up on DK, James, or Hodgins.
Yeah, I mean, these are great filler pieces, right? Because of like what their price tags are. But what happens a lot, and I mean, this happened last week, right? In the DFS streets, you saw Richie James and Hodgins and Slayton all have ownership, and for good reason. But that allowed the ability for their ownership to be driven up. And when the ownership goes up, what happens is there's abilities for those players to fail. Now, if Hodgins, James, and Slayton are all going to be very high owned like last week, one of them's likely going to fail, right? Like they all aren't going to probably get there. And that was James last week. James sunk lineups naturally. So you can make an argument that if these guys gain some ownership and a little too much, they could be good fades. That's all I'm saying. Not all of them. And it's a matter of how many you play in the same lineup. I don't think it was a good idea to load the boat on all these guys. That was just my opinion on it. Another way to think about it too, DFS wise, is let's say these guys have a lot of ownership. Okay. Let's say that everyone is looking to play Giants cheap receivers as values. How can you make it different? I certainly think you can make it different by playing A.J. Brown, because I don't think people are going to go to A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, because when they look to spend up at receiver this week, what is going to be the first point? I think the first point is going to be, wow, Chase at 7.8, Diggs at 7.7, and then A.J. Brown 7.6. Why on earth are people not building their lineups with Diggs first, followed by Jamar Chase? So naturally, you are going to see a very low A.J. Brown, right, in an amazing spot. So I am not sleeping on A.J. Brown this week. I want to see what the ownership ends up being versus Chase and Diggs. That doesn't mean I'm going to fade Chase or Diggs, right? But I'm going to think about that when building out my lineups, because it does matter. Ownership is very important. Not worried that much about the Giants matchup. You can make an argument when it comes to the Giants that, like Mikey said in the chat, I think it's like, or maybe it wasn't Mikey, maybe it was someone else, but last 7 weeks, they played 3 games, divisional game. Could it be a dogfight? Yeah, sure. But that one divisional game wasn't your typical type of divisional game. Let's at least call that out because they sat all their guys. Also, I want to look at Daniel Jones because I was curious, how have the Eagles really been against like running quarterbacks? And like, they did hold Daniel Jones to 26 rushing yards in that one game when they won 48-22. I do think this is a great spot for the Eagles. My worry is how is Jalen Hurts? We can go back to my other analogy I mentioned too. Daniel Jones, is he a quarterback? Like, do we believe in him? Can we put a check mark next to his name as like one of the guys? I'm still unsure, but I think we can. I know we can with Daboll. I think Daboll's a great head coach, and I think they can hang in the game. But I'm not willing to lay the 7. I'll at least say that. If I do bet this game, it's probably teasing it, right? That's probably how I would approach it because I am worried about Hurts and his injury. I do think this Eagles defense is not bad, but I also don't think it's like incredible by any means. So excited to see how this game plays out, though. I think the Giants can hang in this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Giants won, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles blew out the Giants too. I'm very excited to watch this game, though. I think it's going to be a fun one, and I hope it's close. And like I said, if I do bet this game, it's probably via the tees.
Daniel Jones last week, 78 yards rushing. Week before, let's see here. He didn't play the week before. So week 17, 91 yards rushing. The guy's been tucking and running the last couple of weeks.
Well, one more thing to call out, Holden, which is important. Guys tuck and run more in the playoffs, right? When like everything's on the line. That's where they fight for the extra yards a little more instead of maybe sliding. So, yeah, it's a good point to bring out that he's probably is going to run a little bit more. And DFS wise, he's certainly going to be in the conversation because of what he can do rushing wise, right? I mean, last week, if you look at the numbers, he got 30 DraftKings points. But if you kind of did take away the rushing yards, which he had 17 attempts in that game, take away those 8 DK points, he ends up being around like that, like 23 mark, which probably at his price tag was still enough, but he barely got the bonus right at 301. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but point being is that rushing floor that he provides is really good DFS wise for sure.
And if you're betting this one, just real quick, the game that he had like 90 something against the Colts, his line was 33.5. The next week, 40. This week, 44.5. So it tells you that he's going to run Mangone, and I'm just going to go right back to him for the second.
What is the prop again? I'll hold it
44.5 rushing.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
So do I.
I haven't bet it yet, but
if you bet it, just text me, okay? Because I'm close to it.
I might go bet it. I'll let you know for sure if I decide to. But I want to look at I want to see what lines I have on some books because some books I have access to and some I don't. So we'll have to see. Yeah. I do want to talk about Dallas Goedert. He's at 4-5, and like you guys saw what Dalton Schultz did last week, right? I like Dalton Schultz. I thought he was a good last week, but here's the thing. Dallas Goedert has that same ceiling as like a Dalton Schultz, right? Like would not surprise me at all if he just absolutely had like a monster game where he's got like after the first half, he's got 80 yards and like 5 catches and 2 touchdowns. So don't sleep on Dallas Goedert. I think he's a very good play here in this spot. This Eagles offense is the key is what is the ownership going to end up being? That's what I really want to see because I could see a lot of people, again, this is going to be the spot where everyone, what do they say? Man, how do I fade Bengals Bills? And I'm not saying you need to fade it, but there's some really, really good spots here this week and ownership's going to be important. And if we somehow can get really low ownership on these Eagles, not going to ignore it because I ain't scared of this Giants defense, right? I think the Giants defense isn't bad, but it's not a team to be scared of. And we have a lot better totals this week, right? Last week, it was a little bit different. This week, it's a 52.5 total in Kansas City, 48.5 Philadelphia. Bills game is 48.5. Niners game is 45.5. So don't completely ignore this Eagles offense and don't ignore these filler pieces on the Giants. I'm not dying to get to Saquon Barkley. I'll at least call that out. I think that's someone I'm not going to gravitate towards. I think there's other running backs that I'd rather spend on for this slate.
So, Mangone, I'm not going to bet that Daniel Jones. I just did a little bit of research, looked at some of the projections that I use. I'll tell you this much. I'm going to bet the shit out of it live.
Why aren't you betting it? Because
I think we can just get a better number early. is all it is. You just wait, especially if the Eagles get the ball first, it'll come down a couple of yards. So as far as rushing yards with Daniel Jones, I think it's
perfectly
a great
fine. Listen, I bet Tony Pollard's over on rushing yards before the game. And during the game, right, the Cowboys game, I saw, a sharp guy on Twitter basically say like Zeke's like rushing yards under is like a stone lock. And I was like, let me just go live bet that now. I already like the Pollard one.
Yeah.
I bet another way you can kind of gain an edge sometimes betting wise, like just little things to look at. Sometimes just bet the guy to like be like the leading rusher in the game. Like I bet Tony Pollard to be the leading rusher in the Bucs and Cowboys game at plus 200. And like, honestly, I was like, if I think Pollard hits the over on that 51.5 number that he was at for rushing yards, why on earth would I not think he's the leading rusher with the way that they're splitting with Fournette and White? It just didn't make a lot of sense. And especially because Tom Brady, even though he's drops back and he throws little dump offs to guys, even though those look like run plays, they don't count for run yards. So those are little ways to gain an edge as well. Sometimes is, hey, if you're going to bet like, I don't know, AJ Brown's over on receiving yards, maybe just bet him to be the leading receiver in the game. Do you think any of those Giants are going to be a leading receiver over AJ Brown if AJ Brown clears his number? Probably not.
Like button would be great. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, bottom right-hand corner, sideways triangle, or actually it might not be. I don't even know if it's isosceles or not, but it is a triangle. So make sure you click on that. You can use spread 15 for 15% off your first monthly payment. I'll give you to you spread. Why not? Let's go into the next game. And this would be more of a DFS thing. Bengals D for how turnover prone Allen is. Spread, when you're capping this game, you got to take that into account. Bengals, 5-point dogs in Buffalo. It'll be nice and chilly there. Don't worry about it. The weather will be fine. 48 is the total here. Bengals plus 195 on the money line. Big T is going to be back in the Bengals at almost plus 200. What's spread doing with this game?
Hey, I might as well drive to that casino that Big T drives to. I love it how these guys don't understand you can bet offshore. Right? I mean, you'd think Big T understands Bitcoin, right? He can get money in and out of these sports books, but still, we'll let him make the drive. Maybe I'll join him in that empty parking lot. Where does he drive to? Iowa?
I've been to the parking lot, by the way.
Ohio.
Ohio.
I've done the trip with Big T before.
Any lot lizards there?
He's like, it's true though. There's like this parking lot and like, it's clearly for a gas station. And then like the gas station's here. And then, like, there's, like, all the cars that are going to the gas station. Like, the lot wraps over to here. There's a ton of cars over here for no reason. They're all making sports bets when they go over the bridge. It's so funny.
Oh, because they're just doing it from their phone.
Yeah, they just do it on their phone, right? They drive over. They do it quick from their phone, and they drive back. I've done the drive.
We'll have to get Big T on Bet Online and Bookmaker. They pay out within an hour.
But it's not that bad. And here's the thing, Spread. If Big T really needs to make a bet, like, at the moment, I'm pretty sure he has a way to do it, but DK sometimes has some really soft lines. And
you're right. And like, I'm always jealous of Tyler when he gives out those player props on FanDuel, which is maybe one of the reasons why they can't afford their contest. They're like 60 cents better lines than what I'm getting. He's getting like plus 130, and mine is like minus 130 on Bet Online.
Don't worry, the FanDuel Sportsbook is raking.
So if there's lot lizards and TVs, I will definitely be there on the Thursday of the NCAA tournament. You got to be able to bet it live. You get the best numbers. All right, spread. But you're betting pregame. You bet NBA pregame, you're successful. You bet NFL pregame, you're successful. Anything else? What are your other thoughts on this game? Buffalo hosting Cincy.
I bet tennis and I'm successful, and I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to win outright. Give me that money line. I'm with my guy Big T, and hey, what a great feeling to be on the same guy that's running pure for the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, the guy, we should call him Big Midas, right? Everything he touches turns to gold. So I'm happy to be on the same side as him. The Bengals were off to a great start in the small portion of the game that we were able to see on Monday Night Football. And this Buffalo Bills team, they are fantastic. I don't want to take anything away from them, but the loss of Von Miller has severely impacted that defense. When they had Von Miller, I was with you guys. They were probably going to be the Super Bowl team, best team in the AFC. With that lack of pass rush, teams have been able to take advantage of it. People have talked about Josh Allen being turnover prone as well. The other thing I like about the Bengals, They make the best second half defensive adjustments in the league. I think his name's Dean Pease. Am I correct there, Holden?
Yeah. And by the way, here, Peyton Manning, not one time did he make a halftime adjustment. And that's why he's Peyton Manning. Everybody else needs halftime adjustments.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Peyton Manning on his Manning cast, he's like, oh man, I never did one halftime adjustment. We went
when you work 150 hours going into the week, right? I mean, I think it's already, so you've already accounted for it, right?
So let me see just real quick with Allen. Okay. He's got 2, 1, and 2 interceptions in his last 3 games. So that's 5 turnovers in his last 3 games. He is, there's been a couple that have been dropped. He just hadn't been good. Like 57% completion percentage, 59%, 61. He's never been a high completion guy, but he's going to need to run this week a lot. And he's been turning that ball over. I'm concerned about Buffalo. I really am.
And I hate talking bad about a NorCal guy, Ken Dorsey, right? But maybe, the fact that he's not Brian Dable, I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, but we're seeing the chops that Brian Dable showed here. How much of effect did he have on Josh Allen's development? And the longer that he's away, more will some of those bad habits that we worried about in his first couple of years begin to resurface without Brian Dable coaching him out of that, keeping him out of those positions, recognizing which plays that he's more likely to make those and getting them off the play sheet. Now, on the other side, I'm not too big on Zach Taylor, but I love the defensive coordinator there. And then I just love Joe Burrow's moxie. I just think the kid's going to get it done. I also think that, it might be a hot take here. Jamar Chase, best receiver on the field. I trust him more to get things done rather than Stephon Diggs. If the Bengals do need a fourth quarter drive, which would not be surprising, right? I expect this game to be really close. But this Cincinnati Bengals team, I think they're going to have the best quarterback on the field. Maybe that's a hot take, but I like Joe Burrow better than Josh Allen. And I think they're going to make the better adjustments at halftime, come out, put this game away late. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals.
So I threw this up there. CJ,
yeah, they lost
though.
another one. They lost another offensive line.
40% of their offensive line. They had another injury last week, so you're going to have to see if another one's gone. But there's just something about
But to be fair, they weren't protecting that well with the starters to begin with, right? It's not like Joe Burrow's not used to handling pressure.
All right, Mangone. Joe Burrow. Let's start with him in this game. The 2 quarterbacks, Burrow and Josh Allen. Last week, if you played Allen, you had a nice one. Isaiah McKenzie will be back this week. Talk to me here. What about these 2 quarterbacks in this game?
Yeah, I prefer Burrow to Allen. I'm with spread and DFS wise too at 6.5. I think I like him more, but you can't sleep on the rushing upside that Josh Allen does have, right? Like it is pretty wild stuff. So don't completely ignore it. Obviously, I think the McKenzie stuff was pretty big last week for them. With McKenzie kind of going down, that like just condensed the targets for Diggs and Gabe Davis a little bit better. Diggs at 7.7 versus Chase at 7.8. Listen, they're both great plays. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to fade one of them and be like, this is a guy you shouldn't play. As Tambo likes to say, it's not about who you play, it's how you play them. Think about that when you're building out your lineups. Let me tell you one thing. You ain't sneaky if you're shoving in a Joe Burrow with a Jamar Chase and a Stephon Diggs this week. A lot of people will do that. So when you do that, think about how to build the lineup. Maybe you don't eat the chalk at tight end. Maybe do something different there. Just think about how you're building your lineup for sure. One thing to bring up, CJ said Bengals injuries. Like, are you guys worried? I heard they lost an offensive lineman. I did not get to watch that full Bengals game too. That's correct. Who'd they lose? Was it like a key piece?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were already down the left tackle.
They already lost the right tackle, La'el Collins.
And the right tackle now. So
again, I want to call this out. I was not impressed with the Bills. I think Josh Allen, one thing he does is turn the ball over and do stupid stuff like that. And we know what turnovers can do. A turnover basically won the Bengals that game, it felt like, at least from what I saw. Again, I was out doing stuff. I didn't get to see the whole thing, saw bits and pieces of the game. But Joe Burrow is very talented. I do worry about that offensive line. That's the key. And if you remember that Chiefs Super Bowl, Chiefs and Bucks, what was the thing that we had our biggest concern about? We were saying, that offensive line, they lost another piece, but you know what they got? They got Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey. Who cares? And then, you know what? They got absolutely dusted. Is this the piece that finally makes it all, that offensive line fall apart? Does this piece of the offensive line make it look like that offensive line in the first couple weeks? It's possible. So think about that. Holden, I think this could be a really great game to live bet, right? Just when the number keeps swinging, right? There's going to be a lot of scoring, at least we believe. Maybe you just like wait and see and watch the numbers swing back and forth and grab it on each different side and just sit with that little middle and hope it's a 1-2 point game. You root on an awesome ending and you cash both your sides of the tickets. I don't think it's a bad way to go. If I had to place a wager right now, this second though, give me the Bengals. I would be on them +5. I would even bet them money line. I do think they're the better team. I am very worried about that offensive line injury. Maybe it's a little bit of just thinking back to that KC bet that I made, in the Super Bowl way back. But I value offensive line play, but I do think this Bengals team is the better team. I really do. DFS-wise, I do like this game, though. I think it's going to be a fun one to play. We just have to think about how we're playing it. Let's say maybe no one's playing Joe Mixon, right? Maybe it's them mixing in that piece, right? It's trying to find the pieces of the game that you can either mix in, or maybe it's the pieces to fade. Holden, if I told you last week, right, Vikings-Giants, you're building a stack for that game. Were you fading Justin Jefferson?
Should have.
That's my point. Sometimes, instead of saying in DFS, let me fade the game of the week. Sometimes it's like, no, you can't fade this game. What you do is you find a way to make it different. Last night's a great example. How did you build and if you play NBA, I don't know if you play NBA. If you don't, it's still a great example. How do you fade Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis yesterday? Spread, there's no Giannis, right? How do you fade Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis? It seems impossible. Drew Holiday goes for 62 DraftKings points. Bobby Portis goes for 28. Bobby Portis didn't get there. That's how. Justin Jefferson last week against the Giants. Maybe you build a Joe Burrow stack with T. Higgins. You fade Jamar Chase. You still play Stephon Diggs, and you throw in Hayden Hurst. That is already pretty different because Jamar Chase's ownership is going to be through the roof. Just think about how you play your lineups. I think that's important. Let's say all the ownership is going to be on Higgins and Chase. Maybe you only play one of them, you fade the other, and you throw Joe Mixon in there, right? Or maybe if Hayden Hurst is going to gain the ownership and change that over. Or like Space Cowboy said, maybe you mix in Tyler Boyd with Jamar Chase, right? Like let's say you want to play Jamar Chase who's chalky. Maybe then you play Tyler Boyd. Just think about how you're playing them. It's something I try to stress a lot. I'm not saying I have all the right answers. And if I knew how it was going to happen, I'd probably just go win $1 million this week, right? But we need to think about how we play it. I think this is not a game to fade, but it's a game you want to get some ownership on. You want to make sure you have some ownership on because it's going to be an awesome one.
Okay. We got one more game to get to. Like button would be great. Subscribe to our channel. You can use spread 15% off your first payment of a monthly plan. Here's what's coming up later today. If you're watching this on, recorded, don't worry about it. But NBA Hardwood, our free NBA show, Tambo Locks title. Get you set for the big 9-game slate tonight. NBA Final Countdown, me, Big T, JSU coming up at 6:30 Eastern, then a PGA betting preview tonight. So looking forward to that as well. Here we go. Final game. Cowboys-Niners. Spread. I like the Niners. A lot of sharp people like the Cowboys is all I can say. Niners minus
really?
3. Yep. Minus 3.5 for the Niners. I try not to take too much out of what I saw last week and apply it to this week. The Niners just been terrific every single week, it seems like. The Cowboys, up and down. Listen, they played a team last week, Spread, that did not belong in the playoffs. The Bucs did not belong in the playoffs. And you said it. These 7 seeds, they get in. They're not playoff teams.
Well, they weren't a 7 seed. They were a terrible
4
divisional
seed, but they didn't belong. They were under 500. That's a 7 seed right there. So no. Cowboys with a nice win over a garbage team. Niners, 3.5 point favorites at home. 46 is the total, plus 165 Cowboys money line. Are you with me? You with me?
Yeah. So tell me, I haven't heard this stuff. I actually haven't listened to a lot of NFL. Usually, like I do my own NFL work during the week, and then I listen to see where everyone else in the industry is landing on Thursday and Friday. What are the arguments for the Cowboys that you're hearing?
Defense, I guess. Their defense will keep them in it. Dak played really well last week.
Because the Niners defense isn't very good.
I can't come up with any reasons right now, and it's probably the one play that I just won't buy into. I can't. I like the Bengals
for the
a lot.
6th week in a row, we can say the rookie quarterback can't do it again after losing money trying to use that angle or system or trend the last. Yeah, I'm
You're
off
making
that one
fun of my
altogether.
systems.
I'm not.
That's
I'm
the
not.
second shot you've taken at my systems.
No, it wasn't a
Very
shot at the
disappointed.
systems. I'm excited to know the difference. I didn't even know
I
the
just
difference.
told you the difference.
I've been educated today, Holden, and I'm happy to use my new knowledge. It's like when you learn a new word, right? You want to use it, right?
Do you know what a lot lizard is?
I can figure out through.
Okay, so
I'd
on.
infer that it's a woman that you could pick up in a parking lot of a casino and
bang, bang.
do Holden type activities.
It's more of a truck stop thing, but please continue. Why do you like the Niners here?
I mean, they're just simply the better team in every aspect. I mean, okay, I'll be honest. I don't scout special teams that much, so someone can jump in there and tell me the Cowboys have better special teams, and I'll cede that point to you. But I mean, this Niners team just has too many weapons. And you're right. Yeah. Okay. The Cowboys. Hey, you did great. Beat up a team that shouldn't even be on the playoffs. You beat up a guy my age. I mean, this is that Tampa Bay team was terrible. And I said, if Dallas gets it close, then Tampa's got a shot, and they need to blow out Tampa, and they did, right? And so they had a nice, easy win. They get to feel great. Jerry Jones gets to go on the radio, and they get to hype this up. One fun tidbit for this game, Holden. This will actually be the most happened matchup in NFL history now. This will be the 10 times that the 49ers and the Cowboys have played each other. I think the next highest is the 49ers and the Packers, sitting there at 9. So this is a historic rivalry. When I was a kid, when Mangone was maybe in diapers, I don't know. This was the Super Bowl, right? In the mid-90s, right? The Super Bowl didn't matter. It was the NFC Conference Championship game that determined who won the title. So this is a great historic rivalry that gets to be renewed. Unfortunately, for all the Texans, it's not going to go in their favor. The 49ers are just too good. I mean, you look at the weapons this team has, and this is why, when people talk about tanking for draft position, to me, I go, it doesn't matter. You just have to hit the picks. Deebo Samuel's not a top 5 pick. Brandon Ayuk's not a top 5 pick. I can't remember where McCaffrey went. Was McCaffrey a top 5 pick? He might have been.
I don't think so.
I can't remember. Regardless, right? They just nail all these draft picks. I know Bosa was number 2, right? But they've hit on all these.
8th overall.
8th overall?
Holy shit.
Yeah. And he was coming out. That was crazy, his year at Stanford, though. I mean, he was unbelievable. Regardless, this team is too talented. The Cowboys, they got their boost off beating up a terrible team. That's great. This line should be 6, 6.5. We're getting it at 3.5, 4. Give me the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, let's start with the DFS side, Christian McCaffrey. You're fading Barkley. At least that's what I kind of took from what you had to say so far. So if you're fading Barkley, is it ATN, Pacheco, and Christian McCaffrey? Your 3 guys? What do you think of CMC, Mangone?
Yeah, I mean, CMC at 8K is obviously a great play. He's my spend up this week if I have to pick one. Dak Prescott, I mean, I'm not dying to get to Dak. I think I'd rather Lawrence, I'd rather Burrow, so nothing I can do there. I just think there's other options I'd prefer. CeeDee Lamb at 7.3 and a possible trailing script, right? I mean, CeeDee Lamb is great. So I think he's going to be a really interesting option. I want to see what that ownership comes in. Again, it's only a 4-game slate, so we'll have to see. Dalton Schultz at 4.2. Definitely think he could have a good game. So I think he's in the conversation. It's obviously not an easy spot to run, but will they just abandon Zeke completely and just go to Pollard once they realize they're in a competitive game? Possibly. I don't think Pollard's the craziest play. I want to see what that ownership's going to be. Yes, I understand that the Niners have a really good run D, but they'll use him in the pass game, and there's a chance they just literally bail on Zeke. I mean, at some point, you have a game plan, right? And then you get punched in the face and you realize this ain't working, man. We can't watch Zeke go for 1 yard per carry. I like the bet of the Zeke under on rushing yards. So I think that's something I'll be wagering on.
You're going to do it, huh? You're going to pull the trigger on the 44.5.
I just don't think I care. I think it's just, I think he's going to get like 10 yards. So, but
10 yards.
I mean, they're just going to bail on it though. I don't understand. I don't see how Zeke gets like any yards on this team. I just don't. And I think he's going to lose work. So, we'll see. I mean, I think that he could be used in other matchups, but I think this one's just going to be tough for him. So, yeah. Let's see. What else? The Niners. I should talk a little bit about them. Could we play as the people are calling him now Big Cock Brock? Man, I don't see myself getting there this week with him. I just think there's other quarterbacks I prefer. Don't hate it, but if it's like a last piece in, I don't think it's the worst idea. George Kittle's 5'7". Not the worst option. Deebo Samuel's only 5'9", though. I mean, if you play like McCaffrey, and Debo, and then like you need to spend down quarterback with Purdy, I don't hate it. So I think it's not the worst idea, but I think this is definitely the game. This is the game that is going to be the lowest total. It's not going to be when you're as excited about DFS wise. You'll get pieces of it here and there, but not trying to get there as much. I do want to talk betting wise about this and spread. Speaking of betting, don't want to shift over too quick. I don't know who Minnesota's playing tonight, but Rudy Gobert's out. That seems like a smash the Timberwolves spot, right? Now that Rudy's out, it's an easy game for them. Right?
I think they're catching +8.5 against Denver.
Man, sign me up for that. I mean, this isn't an NBA show, but sign me up for
Timberwolves are covering.
Yeah, they are, because the Denver defense isn't that good basketball-wise, and Rudy Gobert sucks and makes that team worse. So.
The one NBA team I know as good as anybody.
Yeah,
they're not covering tonight.
So
Jokic triple-double? Yes.
This is what you bet, Holden. You take some NFL bets, you parlay with Minnesota 8.5, and they're just sitting there nice and pretty. You know what that?
Let me just say, wait till Anthony Edwards is ruled in. He's questionable as well.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, that's true. I think he plays.
just word of warning there before they're all hitting submit.
Fair. Dude is licking his chops to play without Rudy, though.
By the way, you're not getting 40.5 on Zeke, I don't think. It's gonna be down in the mid-30s now. They took that off the board.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, I'll see what I'm still probably gonna bet it.
40 would be wonderful.
I'll probably bet it out of spite, anyways. But
I
do want to talk about the game, like betting wise, not just DFS. So I listened to this whole breakdown from you guys. I've listened to other people in the chat absolutely stroke, like, Cowboys fans like VIP, like Dak looks so good, blah, blah. Like I've heard everyone talk about this game. There's one thing no one has talked about so far. And maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. If I am, please let me know. Maybe you've seen it. How come no one's talking about the coaching mismatch?
Good point.
Anybody?
Good point.
Maybe
Kyle
McCarthy
Shanahan versus Mike McCarthy. What are we doing here? Like, you're overlooking it. Everyone is overlooking the coaching. Everyone. Kyle Shanahan is going to dog Mike McCarthy. This is the game where we look back, we sit here, and this is what we say. The Cowboys have a great team. They made the second round of the playoffs. That's great. But Mike McCarthy blew that game and clearly got out-coached by Kyle Shanahan. He has to go for the Cowboys to take the next step and win a Super Bowl. And Jerry Jones is going to have to sit in the mirror and decide, do I pull the trigger on this? Kyle Shanahan is going to out-coach him. That's going to be the difference. It's plain and simple.
Hey, can I make a submission? I know you like Big Cock Brock. What about just Brock Hard Purdy? That's the nickname I prefer.
That's not bad. I mean, I'm in for it.
Holden does not like it.
No, because all you guys have been talking about is dicks lately. You, Alec,
us,
Mangone, all of you. And it just makes me very uncomfortable.
You think it's maybe because we look to you as a leader, Holden, and we saw you do it and the great success that you've had, and we're imitating what we've seen?
No, I don't think that's the truth at all. I think you're being very facetious, and that's it. And the penis talk has to stop.
See, you learned a new word, facetious.
I did call my waiter the other night Big Dick Nick, though. I'm not even kidding. Just to embarrass the other person I was with. His name was Nick. I'm like, Big Dick Nick? He was like, no, it was very uncomfortable, but I enjoyed it. Anything else?
I want to address Phila in the chat. Says someone talks some sense in the hoop. He's now on the Cowboys with the Super Bowl.
He talked to Tony.
Well, so this is what we'll do, Phila. Okay, so I don't think Hoop's watching. Hopefully he's not, so that way we can have this happen tomorrow. I will be on the NBA show with him tomorrow. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say to him, Phila, I'm gonna say, Hoop, I heard you're on the Cowboys and win the Super Bowl. Like, sell me on it, right? And I'm going to have him do the whole sell point and listen. And then I'm going to do exactly what I just did. Okay, that's great and all. What do you think of Kyle Shanahan versus Mike McCarthy? I'll hang up and listen. And
that'd be sweet.
It's going to get interesting. We'll see.
Which show is this so I can make sure to catch it live and try and be in the chat?
NBA Hardwood Show. Also, if anyone's watching, don't tell them, right? Because I think this – listen, I'm victim of it too. I sit there and I break down games, right? And we overlook things because it fits our narrative and we're giving analysis. I truly think this is something we're overlooking. And maybe I'm overlooking the defensive line. That's going to be great. But I think the Niners have the offensive line to be able to do their best against it. Also, if Brock Purdy just shows up and looks like a pumpkin, am I going to feel like an idiot? Yes, I'm going to feel like an idiot. But he hasn't done it yet. And he's got the right pieces. He has the right coach. The one thing I love about Purdy that I heard early on, and spread, this was when I got sold on Brock Purdy. Trent Williams said in practice, Purdy was yelling at him for making an error. If you're Brock Purdy, right, and you go and yell at Trent Williams and tell him that you better make that block, you better do your job, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't call out Trent Williams like that. And that's just stuff I absolutely love. That kid's got it, I think, really to do it. So
I must say, Matty Ice, Big Cock Brock is going to meet Massive Sack Micah. And
that's a good quality comment.
It's all over.
No, that is a good quality comment.
Yeah, Big Sack Micah.
This will be a really fun game. It really is going to be. I'm excited to watch this one. Hey, you give Kyle Shanahan 2 weeks to prepare for a game. And especially, let's say if the Giants pull off the upset, right? Let's just say they do. Kyle Shanahan's going to be sitting there like, I'm going to pull out the stops in this game because next week's going to be more of a cakewalk. You know what I mean? He might really pull out the playbook for this one. We haven't seen Kyle Shanahan unload a playbook in a while, guys. He might throw a lot out there, and it's going to be good.
If the Bengals win after the amount of money I put down on the spread and the money line, I'm going to buy an 85-inch TV. It's going to be glorious because I only got an 80 right now. We got to step our game up, Mangone. We got to step it up. Another 5 inches, maybe 6.
Hey, if the ladies tell you need another 5 inches, Holden, I think.
Well, I told you, yeah.
If they say you need another 5 inches, you're
you
dating
said
the
I
wrong
needed
women.
another 6. She couldn't even see it.
Another 5.
See, here we go, back with the dick talk again. Can we just move on? Like button would be great. Subscribe to the channel. The spread. What's the best bet this week?
On my best bet is I like 2. I'll give you the Kansas City Chiefs. Lay the points. They're going to absolutely smash the Jaguars. I can't even talk. They will absolutely smash the Jaguars. Another one, give me that Bengals money line with Big T. A best bet for each day.
Mangone, best bet or best DFS play? Maybe
yeah,
both.
I'm trying to think of my best bet. Because I want to do this. I guess it'd be the tease of, you said the Bengals are a great tease, but I don't love the 5 going into
that's not your typical one, but you're going through 7 and 11. You're going through 7 and 10. You're getting 2 numbers.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. It's going to be, let's do Jaguars and I want to do Jaguars and we'll do Jaguars and it's either Eagles or Bengals. That's the one I can't think which one I want to put in.
All right. Don't do 7-point teaser. You're going to get like minus 140, 150.
Yeah, you're right. Let's do the Bengals one. So I'll go Jaguars and Bengals. We'll tease those. We get to sit on some points. That'll be the teaser for sure this week. And bet the Zeke under on rushing yards. That sounds good to me. And hey, fill it in the chat. Timberwolves +10 on FanDuel. Go get the Timberwolves. They are going to definitely not lose by 10 against the Nuggets because we are going to have spacing tonight on the floor. Ant Edwards is going to be able to drive.
Like smash because you asked, Holden. Keep it up. Damn straight, Matty Ice. Damn straight. Nobody more valuable. Well, maybe 5 or 6 guys. I'm going to go with the Bengals money line, and I'm going to go, this thing got steamed up, but I got it 40.5. I think you can find it 42.5. Richie James over 42.5. He's my favorite DFS play again. He'll be popular, but at 3,900, he could take one to the house. He could score. I love that guy. Give me some Richie James. Horrible interview though. Just not fun.
No, that's a good one. And if you guys haven't signed up at Run Pure Sports, use the code MANGONE15 for 15% off, spread 15 for 15% off, or Holden 15 for 15% off. So do that and hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out the NBA Hardwood show tomorrow where I ask Hoop the question why he's on the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, and he doesn't respond with Mike McCarthy's actually going to find a way to get to a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan getting in his way.
Robert, he says awful lot of people on the Bengals money line. It's always good to fade when everybody's on one side, you know? So if you want to hammer the other side with the Bills, by all means, go for it. But I was leaning.
It's funny because the line moved the other way. It was 4.5 yesterday. It's 5 today. So.
Yeah. Nate is 5. Kurt 15. Oh God.
I knew you hadn't read the comment when you said it so fast. It's like, here we go. Here comes
Brazilian.
Is Kurt into that stuff?
Kurt will do a lot of things. I'll say that.
All right, Kurt's
and he'll be on the golf bet show tonight with me, Snyder. And,
talk to him and tell him he's going to need a medicine cocktail if he goes.
No, he just passed. If you're not watching the NBA rundown, he was celebrating his clean test results.
Good for him. So. Good for him. It's only a matter of time.
By this week, he only needs probably needs to test again, but
Okay. Again, if you if you're watching live, NBA Hardwood 445, get you ready for tonight's 9-gamer. 6:30, it'll be me, JSU, Big T, final countdown, taking all your questions and bullshitting for the first 30 minutes. PGA betting preview tonight at 8:30 for Mangone and spread. You know, I'm still getting used to this thing, Mangone. I'm still getting used to this thing. We got to hit the credits. I mean,
You need help? I can do it if you need.
I'll do it right now.